Welcome back to Common Sense, everyone, where common minds come together because.
Common sense ain't that common. As you can see, we coming straight from the bando today. So you know what I'm saying? That's the type of time we on today. Diaz, or what we talking about, man?
All right, y'all. So, newsflash, Marvel is back. I repeat, Marvel is back. So, just in case you guys did not know, Marvel has released its latest film, The Thunderbolts. And so we are here today. Of course, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about the deep messages in the film. We got to talk about what we like, maybe what things that we didn't like, and what it means for the MCU going forward from this point on. And so, first, now that we're getting into it, we're first going to give our overall thoughts about it. So, Cameron, you got to tell me, what did you think as you sat down in the theater and watched this movie, specifically coming off of the last Marvel film that we watched, which was Captain America Brave New World?
Okay, so going into this movie, I already had low expectations. So maybe that's why it was kind of higher for me.
Dang.
Because, like, when you think about it, there were no like A-list superheroes or super villains in here. I mean, you could say Sentry is a A-list, I guess, but you wouldn't really know
And Bucky.
Sentry. Yeah,
And that
Bucky,
and that's
Bucky's a
it.
B-list. Bucky is like what Darius Garland is to Donovan Mitchell. Okay, for all my sports fans out there, respectfully,
Like,
respectfully. So I came in there with low expectations, but I ended up, really enjoying the movie. I think it's the best Marvel movie since Guardians 3. I think it's the most memorable, and I think it also is going to hold a unique place as far as Marvel movies, period. I think Deadpool and Wolverine was the most forgettable Marvel movie I've ever seen. Like, I can't even really name you the events. I could just name you the cameos. The Doctor Strange movie that came out, the Multiverse of Madness, that was all over the place. And then you have Captain America Brave New World, which had a little bit of upside, but to me, just again was missing a little bit, but this kind of brought it all together. One of the major takeaways, because I didn't watch Black Widow, but Yelena is a way better Black Widow than Natasha. In my opinion, if she's just more relatable, and I think, gravitated me more towards the story than Scarlett Johansson ever did. But I think that's just because Scarlett Johansson, when she came on the scene, she was more of a I look good type Megan Fox role, who was also in the action. So what did you think about that?
okay, so I knew I was going to enjoy the Thunderbolts to a certain extent because I did watch the Black Widow movie. And so I enjoyed Yelena from the very first moment I've seen her on screen. I love Alexi. And basically, I'm a Bucky girl. I know you said he's like the Darius Garland to the Donovan Mitchell, but to me, he's the Donovan Mitchell in this scenario because I'm a Bucky girl. So I was excited to see Bucky. And of course, you have Walker, you have people that we've seen before. And
Oh, hold on, guys. First of all, like and subscribe, and spoilers, letting you know.
yeah, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
you clicked on the video and we're talking about Thunderbolts, so
The
they're
review. Yeah.
duh. And also we see returning characters like is it Valentina de Fontaine? Characters like that. Basically the female newer version of Nick Fury, I guess you could say, in a way.
She kind of moved like
Um,
Lex Luthor, though, the way she be
right.
moving. So yeah.
Right. But since they were bringing back those familiar faces, I knew I was going to enjoy the film to a certain extent, but I had no idea it was going to pull on my emotions the way that it did. And honestly, I think the Thunderbolts gave us something that Marvel has not given us in a very, very, very long time. And that is a character driven plot where we are invested into the characters very deeply because we know who they are, not because of their powers. I think the last time we really touched on mental health in a superb way in Marvel was either, like, you could say Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is what you mentioned, Iron Man 3. And of course you see little hints of it like in Bruce Banner, you see it in
Oh,
Wanda, you see it a little bit here and there, but this movie, it seems like this movie, the main message was about mental health, and it literally and figuratively takes us into the darkness of the characters and teaches us how to deal with said darkness. And so I personally love the movie.
I'm there with you too. And I think as far as just kind of having an equal balance, it had the goofiness, it had the Marvel action, and that's where it made it feel like, hey, I'm actually at a Marvel movie right now and not something that's connected to one Disney Plus show that I had to watch, and plus this, plus that, plus all of these other things of characters I didn't know. And that kind of leads me to the plot because you've said that this kind of Marvel hasn't done this in a while. I'll even one up you there. I don't think Marvel has ever done anything like this. As far as just this didn't feel like a superhero movie. It felt like more of a film, if you get what I'm saying. Like it felt like it
Right.
was something deeper than just them having well, first of all, no one really has superpowers on this team, but them kind of being in a superhero world, and it was just like this is different. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They were different as far as the plot goes. They really focused on mental health, and that was the overall arching theme of the movie. Marvel movies usually don't have theme. I can name you one who had just like a consistent theme that was pushed in points over and over in the movie. Marvel movies tend to be fast food until we finally get to that ending Avengers film where it all kind of collides together. So this
Right.
was kind of a breath of fresh air from a plot standpoint to me. What do you think about the plot going into it?
Honestly, I love the plot. Like I think one of and you brought up that these characters don't really have superpowers like that, and that's one of the things that I love about it. Like one of my favorite scenes is where they have to link arms and climb up the little get the long little way trying to get find their way out of the building that they were in at time when they were about to be incinerated. The fact that they had to link arms and literally walk up the what would we even
It
call
was like
that?
a shaft or something that they were trying
Yeah,
to
like
get
I don't
up.
even know
Yeah, it was kind
as
of
they were
weird.
climbing up the
They were
thingy.
meant
That's
to
what we're
die
gonna
in
say.
there. Okay,
Right.
that's
They literally. And so, if we were to have Tony Stark, they would have just flown right up there. Like,
flew right up there, or
like they would have
Thor,
just went right up
somebody
there.
else. Yeah,
So
would have got
it's
out there
certain
easy.
elements like that that make the movie special. And also when we talk about the mental health element, so fun fact, you guys, this month is mental health awareness month. So
Look at
they
that.
yeah, so like it kind of coincides with what they were trying to do. Obviously, it was on purpose, and I think the message that they were trying to portray in this film through every single one of the characters is that it's okay to not be okay. And in those moments when you're not okay, you have people that you can lean on that will help you through those moments. And it's okay to lean on other people and not to solely just try to deal with things by yourself. Because if you look at the entire cast, right, you got Bucky, he has enough trauma for all of us to go around.
I
And
still want to fade for
Yelena,
Tony. I don't care. I would have took it there. But as far
but
as
yeah,
takeaways, I don't mean to take away your thought, but since we're just talking about what we took away from the plot, I kind of took away from you can't run from your past. That to me what this movie was about, because all of the characters had something in their past that they didn't that were feel like they were trying to avoid, which in
mhm,
essence caused a void bars.
mhm.
But when you because you think about it when you talk about Walker after he killed the guy publicly in the Captain America and Winter Soldier Disney Plus show, he didn't want to talk to his family anymore. He was obsessed with it, causing him to become the U.S. agent. Now, yeah, Elena who set up her friend, which is shown over and over and over in this film, and I feel like they kind of show you kind of have to face the past sometimes because a lot of people be like the past is the past. Don't worry about it.
Also, another thing that I feel like that makes this film very special, specifically when talking about the topic of mental health, is that when you look at the Thunderbolts as a whole, they are all individually people that are going through trauma in their own right. And so there are people that not only are they not looked good upon in society, but they aren't good with themselves. They don't really like themselves in a sense. And kind of going back to what you were talking about, there's always this it's fine, I'm fine thing with them where they never really address what's going wrong with them or they never address their past and it kind of just boils over in the end. That's what makes them such a good team to me was because in spite of all the things that they went through and in spite of all of their shortcomings, they were able to put all of that aside and work together as a team for the betterment of society.
Yeah, and I also thought they found I feel like the most clever but not cliche way, but I think some people thought it was cliche anyway to beat this team to find a way to beat Century because in reality there's no way this team could beat Sentry. Neither was in the comics or how they portrayed him in the movie. I thought the way they portrayed his powers was pretty cool. I think DC is probably scared because that looked very similar to Superman, because he is Marvel's Superman, but it's just like we need to make Superman look like Sentry did in that 10 seconds where he was destroying the Thunderbolts, because he looked really good while doing it as far as the CGI and everything goes. But as far as him turning into the Dark Sentry and them having to go into his past and basically go into his mind to kind of take out the void, was, I think, it was a little cliche, but to me it was a kind of a great way for them to kind of end it without just the you're stronger than this, the cliche you're supposed to overcome or whatever. So that's what I feel like, that kind of got some points for me, because at some point you would say on paper there's no way this team would beat Century, but the way they did it, it was okay to me.
But to be honest, I rather have that ending than the we have a Hulk or we have like a person that's stronger than you. We have a person at the end of the day that you cannot beat that ends the story. I felt
Hmm.
like the ending was way more poetic and beautiful in the way they did it to where he's on top of the void trying to beat the void up by himself, and then when they all fight their way out of being trapped to come and help him, and they don't necessarily fight, they literally just hug him. Like sometimes it's just about having that comfort there, and being surrounded by the people that you love. And I thought that was a beautiful ending, even though it's like the power of friendship type ending. It was well placed and it's right. And the fact that all of them jumped into the void, even Bucky was kind of like hesitant of it at first because obviously you don't know what it does. Unbeknownst to them, they don't know what laid ahead of them going into the void, and they all decided to go in there after Yelena. And it was, to me, it was a good ending. I know many people may have had an issue with it, but I thought it fit very well and it was beautiful for the scenario.
Right, and these also are new Avengers. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so at the ending of the movie, when they about to get they get back on Miss Valentina, she pumps fake them. She pumps fake them and reveals that they are the new Avengers. And honestly, when it comes to power scaling, right? Because that was the first thing I thought about, because as you stated earlier, they don't have powers. They don't really have powers. So, or at least comparing them to the other threats in the Marvel cinematic universe. How are they going to deal with all of the cosmic threats that are going to be coming their way, or even stronger powers that are coming their way? But outside of that, the irony that Valentina didn't really value them, she saw them as disposable. And now they're the new Avengers. So like the person that didn't even see them as people and basically just saw them as objects, now is like giving them this new purpose. And that was another reason why I actually liked them being called the new Avengers, because before then we was all wondering who are going to be the next Avengers. When Iron Man dies and when Cap turns into dust, who is going to be the next Avengers? And that was the biggest question. And now we have that answer. Them as a group, they work really well together. They're hilarious together. Not only that, we have a story, we have a foundation with these people now because of Thunderbolts. So I think they're the perfect choice to be the new Avengers, especially now that they have a new found purpose. And I think that's what makes them special.
I thought it was interesting. As far as them being the new Avengers, I think we got to keep it with a Z right now, like Alexi said, and kind of like what, oh my gosh, like what Falcon said, just because, this team, it's almost like Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad, but they're like the Justice League now.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
it's just like, are these are real new Avengers, or will there be something added to it? Because you still have Captain America out there as well, and so many other characters. So it's like, will this really be the new team, or will they kind of break off and join? Because there's so many other heroes out there. Like, what's Thor doing? What's Hulk doing? All those other characters, will they join this tandem of villains turned heroes, or are they not going to? So I think that's kind of the next thing we have to look forward to. As far as Marvel only makes good movies, I feel like right now, when there's a team aspect to it. Because you look at
Right.
Guardians was really good, all of the Avengers are good, and now we have this new Thunderbolts movie. So as far as like how they all connect with each other, it does feel like a bit of a family, a little rough around the edges, kind of like the Guardians, like you said earlier. So I like them as a team, but as far as if anyone comes to destroy the Earth is cooked. There is no
Yeah,
way this
like
team is
that
stopping
was the
anything.
first
Yeah.
thing that came to my mind. It's like when these other intergalactic threats come down, what's gonna happen?
Speaking of threats flying from the sky or into space, guys, if you stayed past for the end credit scene, something is approaching Earth. It's a spaceship with the number 4 on it. We wonder who it could be. Right? Of course, it's the Fantastic Four, right? So they show the Fantastic Four coming to Earth, and to me, this ruins the Fantastic Four movie completely. We all kind of had theories that Galactus was going to destroy their world, and they were going to have to
Mm.
find a way to come to Earth 616, which is where all the other characters are. But I wanted to see it in the movie. I didn't want you to show me that at the
Right.
end of Thunderbolts, because now what's the point? Like, Galactus is gonna destroy the Earth the Fantastic Four is on. Like to me, that's gonna be the whole movie, and they're gonna come to Earth 616.
Now we know Marvel, they pump fake, but it's like what other assumption could we make from that? Like, you know
Right, but
what I'm
even
saying?
when have they pump
Like,
fake like this before? Like they pump faked in a trailer,
nah,
but never an end
yeah,
credit scene.
never an
So
end
it's
credit scene.
like, nah, that's really about to happen. So it's just like unless they
Right.
do it in like a weird way where that doesn't show us much, but to me, unless the Fantastic Four isn't in there. And
Unless it's
maybe it's
Doom.
Doctor Doom who's there. So, he could be in the ship for all that we know.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? And that brings the whole thing of, they brought Robert Downey Jr. back. Maybe they run into him first instead of the Fantastic Four.
Mm.
So that's maybe something we can look at. And maybe, like I said, he escapes and the Fantastic Four stay on their world. We don't know, but we see the four there, and we know that some type of threat from the Fantastic Four universe is coming to Earth 616. So that's an interesting take. Well, Deandra, how would you rate this movie? 1 out of 10?
So when we watched
From 1 to
Guardians of the
10.
Galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
I gave three. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I gave that a 9. Now, I've only seen it once, and it's been such a long time since I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But I feel like this is one of my favorite movies in a while. And I
From
may be
Marvel.
just a prisoner of the moment, but I think I'm gonna give Thunderbolts. I'm gonna give it like a I'm gonna give it a 8.5. Actually, wait a minute. Wait. See, is what I'm fighting with here is Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Thunderbolts on the same playing field, is what I'm saying.
Well, I feel like you have more history behind the Guardians movies, so that's why 3 kind of hit a
Right.
little bit harder.
That
But
yeah,
as
yeah, yeah,
far as
yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't put it up there with the idea. Honestly, for
Yeah.
me, if because I have Guardians at a 9 as well, so I would
Mhm.
put Thunderbolts at like a 7. Honestly, I would give it at probably a solid 8. I would keep it just at 8 for that for it. I think it
Feel
was
like
better than most
Guardian
people expected.
Right. And that's why, honestly, that's why and again, I watched the Black Widow movie. So I feel like a lot of it is also coming from that movie, like my feelings toward that movie as
Hmm.
well, and seeing like characters from that movie progress. So I think I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Okay,
That.
so I know this is crossed over, and you can cut this out of the episode if you want to, but you gave this an 8.5. That's the same rate you gave Sinners. Is this movie as good as Sinners?
Oh my God. Why you
That's
do
why
that
I
to
didn't go
me?
8.5 because I gave Sinners an 8.5.
When I'm ranking these and I'm giving them a rank, I'm comparing them to other Marvel movies.
Okay.
And again, like a film is a film, but at the end of the day, like judging if I'm giving it a rate 1 through 10, I'm comparing it to what other Marvel movies made me feel in a sense. Because Sinners is on the total opposite spectrum of what
Yeah, I
Thunderbolts
just know as
is.
far as movies this summer, there's gonna be a lot of blockbusters out. So I was just like, as far as just rating them, is this on the same level as a Sinners? You saw the reaction from it. Of
Say
course,
so.
it's not as
Uh,
big because
Yeah,
yeah, because it doesn't have the
I would
acting
say
star
so.
power it did. But I think it should be up there. To me, they're 1 and 2 right
Yeah,
now. So we still got a
yeah.
couple Marvel movies to see. But guys, let us know. what you guys thought about the movie. What would you rate it out of 10? Is Marvel back on track? We certainly think they are. Like and subscribe. Deandra, you got anything?
Yelena and Bob were my MVPs of the movie. That's all I would like to
Oh,
say.
they definitely made it.
They
They stole the show.
they stole the show. But other than that, I'm just gonna second what he said, subscribe, comment, hit the little bell and get a notification when we post, guys, and let us know what else you guys would like for us to talk about. Well, that's gonna be it, you guys. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Deuces.